In our family, Thanksgiving is traditionally a time where we get together with family and friends. We have a large meal and there's not the confusion and excitement and focus on kids and gifts that comes with Christmas, so it's a real time to focus on being together. What I thought I'd do in this video is to show you the sorts of things that we're eating together, because there's a lot of family tradition and friends that are kind of embraced in the preparation and in the remembrance of what it is that we're cooking and eating together, because it's been passed through the years through our family and accumulated and changed by our friends. So the first step on our Thanksgiving journey begins actually on Tuesday before Thanksgiving, when I soak wood chips now. And this is because the way we're preparing our turkey this year and what the kids seem to enjoy the most is if it's smoked outside on the grill. So the wood chips are in here soaking. Something else that happens on Tuesday before Thanksgiving every year is that we pick up our Manna Pie. Manna is an organization that supports the feeding of families who have a member who is critically ill, in some cases terminally ill. And Friends Central School has a tradition of selling the Manna Pie. So this Manna Pie is actually purchased and picked up yesterday. They're frozen when they arrive because of course Manna has to prepare hundreds to thousands of pies each year. Each pie costs $30, but basically what you're doing is you're donating and receiving kind of a pie as, you know, a side benefit of that donation to Manna. I'll put a link to Manna in the description, and if you feel like moved to donate to Manna, we would really appreciate your support of that organization, because it does a lot of good in Philadelphia. And by the way, this is my pumpkin pie holder, and yes, that is a turkey on my thumb. Color Street Nails. That's a new tradition I'm starting this year. I am here at Linvilla Orchards to pick up our turkey for Thanksgiving, and there are cars as far as the eye can see. I'll take a picture inside too. It's really crowded here, but this is a family tradition to get our turkey fresh. So I've got my turkey and a thing of apple cider. What's interesting is that they have a system here for calling out whether or not you've got, or whether when they've got a turkey ready. There's a human being that actually gobbles. They go like a turkey. It's pretty cool. And the last thing I want to show you is this really wild looking pumpkin. Look at that. And that's Linvilla Orchards for today. We are back home with the turkey, and what's funny about this turkey is that it came from a turkey farm that is right around the corner from where my sister lives in Elverson. So I'm going to get ready and brine this turkey in a bag in a cooler with some ice in it overnight. And the brine recipe that I have is from my friend Jill, from her husband. And Jill and I have been friends for over 40 years. But David took a class with a pit barbecue master, and so we're going to smoke our turkey outside. We're going to brine it overnight with, not this much, we're going to cut this in a quarter. Probably a quarter cup of honey, a cup of dark brown sugar, a cup of kosher salt, a gallon of water, actually half a gallon of water. I should divide all this by 4, right? 1 cup of honey, half a cup of dark brown sugar, half a cup of kosher salt, half a gallon of water, and it's going to be in there overnight. All right, so that's what I'm about to do with this turkey. And over here next to this, I just want you to take a look at this. It looks a little bit weird, but what you are looking at is the sourdough starter. And this sourdough starter is active and bubbling. See all those bubbles? You might even see one get created as you're looking at this. But this is an active starter. Oh, one just burst right there. I saw it. That I'm about to get ready to get some flour going, flour mixture, and then I'll mix in about 80 grams of this active starter. It's ready to go to make a beautiful loaf of sourdough bread for tomorrow. All right, I have the brine ready as I showed you in the picture, and I just cleaned out the kitchen sink with baking soda. And the whole process is kind of complicated this year because like every time I touch anything like the outside of the turkey package or anything, I'm sanitizing my hands because I was just at Lynn Villa and people were handling the bag and the turkey and all that stuff. So I'm just being really clean about everything here. And anyway, the big challenge is to get the brine into the container, which is a plastic bag and another plastic bag, and there's the turkey. And what I then have to do is pick it all up and put it on the floor in this cooler. So without spilling, we will see if this works. I'm not filming myself trying this, but we'll see the end result. And it's just a turkey breast this year because it's just 4 of us eating because Neil can't come home. I did it! So we're out on the back porch now, and you can see we've got a bag and a bag, and turkey is in the brine. You can hear my neighbor over there blowing leaves and her grandson being upset about that, and Tinker waiting here at the door looking out at me expectantly. Now I'm going to begin the process of bread baking, and this is a pretty intense process, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently today than I have been, mainly because I'm going to be using my great-grandmother Griffith's bowl. And I just flipped this over and noticed it says this word on the back and looked it up, and these bowls, I'm surprised online, they're like, Munising is apparently a city in Michigan, and they make these bowls and they're going like $280 or something for these bowls. So this is a pretty special bowl. I've never used it for baking bread or anything else, but I think she might have once, 100 years ago or more, made bread in this kind of a bowl because it's nice and broad and it allows for mixing. I also have over here her recipe book, which is a treasure. It's very, very special to me, and it's filled with all kinds of things. I want to try every single recipe in here. Some she taped in, some she wrote herself, and I just happened to open, and it's in pink. I don't think this ink was originally pink. It was probably blue and just changed color, but for turkey stuffing. So I wasn't intending to try her turkey stuffing tomorrow, but maybe this is a message that I'm supposed to. But also there's a pie crust recipe in here, and I noticed flipping through, I don't know if I can find it again, there's even instructions for how to unstop your nose. She just jotted it down, I guess, one day, but really, really cool to have this recipe book. Anyway, we're going to sort of channel her in our bread baking today. So I'm mixing my flours together right now, and I used 100 grams of this stone ground whole wheat organic flour, which I really like to bake with. It tastes really great. It smells really great in the bag. It doesn't have a funny smell to it like some wheat flours do. And I usually use 350 grams of gold medal bread flour. I like bread flour better than all-purpose flour for bread baking. But I had only 300 grams left in this bag, and so I felt that was a message rather than opening up another bread flour bag to try and experiment. And that is to put in 50 grams of almond flour. It's special, it's Thanksgiving, and again, I'm channeling my granny, and I felt like the fact that I ran out of the bread flour and I didn't want to open the new bag of it was sort of a message, try something new. And to this beautiful bowl of mixed flours, I'm going to be adding 350 grams of water and then letting it sit for an hour, and then I will, after that, add 80 grams of the bubbly sourdough starter. About ready to add in the 80 grams of sourdough starter. I just want to mention that this sourdough starter came from the son of a colleague of mine at Friends Central, John Gallagher, who was also a physics student of mine some years ago. So this sourdough starter was started and given to me last December 2019. So the dough has been sitting here And it's a little tacky, not too bad though. And I'm going to add 10 grams of salt to it to stop the rise, and then it will have to go through a series of proofing, stretching, and folding. And then we'll come back when it's ready to go into the Banneton and go away. So now it's time to make the stuffing, and this is technically cornbread and leek stuffing, but what's interesting about this is the history of where I got the stuffing recipe, and that is from my very good friend Terry Guerin, who is a colleague from Friends Central, who just retired from Friends Central this year. We're going to be modifying this recipe. I have these ginormous leeks. I don't know if you can see the size of my hand compared to these leeks, they're huge. So I'm not using the 7 leeks that Terry suggested in the recipe. And also because I only found this cornbread instead of a bag of cornbread cubes, I'm going to be mixing that with some sourdough cubes together. And we're taking out the pecans and the cranberries. So basically it's sauteed leeks mixed with the stuffing. And I have some celery here. I'll be chopping up in the butter. It's getting softened over here. So I'm going to mix all that together and I'll show you the result. So it is about 3:30 on Wednesday. The stuffing is done and the bread is in its final rise, and so that's over here. We can take a peek at it as it's rising up. Alexa, how much time is left on my timer? Oops.
You have 40 minutes left on your 1 hour and 30-minute timer.
So 40 minutes left on that, and it looks like it's a little spread out, so it's a little bit of a wet, tacky dough. But I think it'll still make a nice loaf. It's got a nice rise to it. The bread is in the Banneton and it's ready to go in the refrigerator overnight, and we are about to make the mashed potatoes. Still Wednesday night, getting it all ready. So I'm not really a mashed potato maker myself, but or I am now, but I didn't used to really care for them much. But Mark really likes mashed potatoes and Lyle loves them. So I usually make sweet potatoes on Thanksgiving. But I'm the only one who eats those around here, so that's my mother's recipe, family recipe that includes orange juice and brown sugar and marshmallows on top. So we make them with sweet potatoes, which I guess are technically not the same exact thing as a yam. This recipe that I'm making here is a modification of a recipe that I just kind of found. I like to tinker with recipes. I know a lot of people don't like to do that, but I do. So really what I'm going to do is just, I should be using Yukon Gold potatoes for this, but the store was out of those, so I'm just using all-purpose white potatoes. And I'm going to cube them up and boil them until they're soft. And then I'm going to smash them up with some other things. Now, Mark likes just to put a little milk in there and butter, but I like to put cream cheese in. And cream cheese really makes them creamy and kind of tangy. Also some garlic. I won't put a lot of garlic in there, but just enough to give it a little bit of a kick. Lyle's funny because he asks me to make the really good kind of potatoes, and that's what makes them really good, is that garlic and the Philadelphia cream cheese. So a whole brick of that, maybe a brick and a half, is going in. And I have it out here on the counter softening. So my water's boiling for my potatoes. So I've got to get potatoes into this pot of steamy water. Oh my gosh. These mashed potatoes are the kind that are so good that you cannot stop eating them. I can't wait till tomorrow. It is Thanksgiving Eve here on Oldfield Way, and I'm coming outside to check in the cooler to see how it's doing, because it's cool outside, but it's not cold, so I'm just exchanging an ice pack there. There's some water in the bottom. I think we have breached. Oh dear. Yeah, there's liquid in here, so that's not so good. It's not a great sign. That means that the brine has escaped. Although I didn't think, I've double bagged it, so I'm not really sure how that happened. But anyway, we'll deal with that tomorrow. Yuck. Happy Thanksgiving. It's a drippy, wet Thanksgiving morning here in Broomall. This is my prepared thing of wood chips, and I'm up, and so are the people. Ready for the Macy's parade. I'm in my pajamas outside. Lighting the grill because we're gonna smoke a turkey today. So that thing has to go on there. 275 degrees, we're heating it up. And now we're gonna come over here and discover how our brined turkey is doing. It was raining last night. And it does look like we had some leak. The turkey may not be fully brined, but we're gonna work with it anyway. I gotta get this whole mess in the house. So we'll come back and show you the turkey once it's on the counter. So I managed to get the turkey out of the brine, and it looks like it's pretty good. I coated it with a little bit of olive oil, and now what I'm gonna do is season it all over using this Sweet Pap, which is a special spice mix given to me by my homeroom student Spencer Thorne and the Thorne family last Christmas. So I'm going to use the rest of it up on our Thanksgiving turkey this year. Thank you, Spencer. Every 45 minutes I have to baste the turkey, and I'm using a mixture of honey with chicken broth and apple cider vinegar. So it's a little bit thick at the bottom. I'll try and mix it up there to dissolve the honey a little bit. But I'll basically baste that turkey every 45 minutes. And the turkey goes in for 20 minutes per pound. So it depends on your poundage of turkey. It's going to be in there a lot of today. And now it's time to get the bread out of Banneton and onto this parchment and score it. So after I get it out of there, I'm going to show you a picture of that. The oven is preheating to 515 degrees over here, 515, and it'll be in there for 17 minutes. Then we take the lid off of the pot and we'll put it in for another 23. So you're going to see a beautiful, nice loaf. So what I'm showing you is I think it's pronounced lame, spelled like the word lame. But that is used for scoring bread. This isn't a particularly poofy loaf. I know it will rise in the oven, and I can tell that by the separation occurring here. But what you do is you make a pattern. My sort of go-to pattern is something that looks a little bit like a tree, and that's what you're seeing here. So I'm about ready to put this into the oven. In my, I don't have a Dutch oven. I use a pot with a lid, and we keep the lid on to keep the bread moist for the first little while. So the Macy's parade is going on, and I just figured I'd put this up because I'm kind of just running in and watching occasionally. Hey, Tink. You want Adele to come home for Thanksgiving? Yeah? You do? Do you want to see Neil? Is Adele here? Where's Adele? Where's Adele? She's coming. Oh, she's very excited. I made the mistake of telling Tinker that Adele in particular was coming. So she's standing at attention, and she will do this for the next little while, probably half an hour until Adele gets here. So, that is the picture of hope. Look at those ears. She cannot wait to see you, Adele. Guess what it's time to make? You can tell by looking at the ingredients. Yes, it's the famous green bean casserole that comes from the back of the French's Onions, crispy onions package. So this is just a, I don't know, American family tradition around holiday time. I don't know who started it or when. It would be kind of interesting to research that, but this is not necessarily in my family or from a particular person. It's just a thing people enjoy. I am so hungry, and I am out here smelling this turkey on the grill, and it smells delicious. I'm gonna check its temperature. This temperature is reading 67 outside, so I believe that. It's dropping down a little bit, maybe. No, it's a little. It's very warm today for November in Broomall. Anyway, maybe I'll take a picture of the thermometer in the turkey, and we'll decide if it's done or not. So the turkey is there, and here's our steaming wood chips to smoke it. We're at 137, we need to be at 165, so I'm going to baste it one more time and then put it in for another half hour probably. So the current issue is we can't get the turkey off of the grill. I'm making a whole documentary of Thanksgiving for Neil, mainly. So it's all about our Thanksgiving traditions. So it's now a beautiful day. Adele's going to help us operate the doors. Is she in the cage? Okay.